a $3 million farmhouse tucked deep in the Kentucky hills. Stone fireplaces, dark leather sofas, and a kitchen where Southern comfort still simmers. This isn't just where Wynonna Judd lives. It's where she heals, reflects, and remembers. But what led one of country music's most powerful voices to retreat into the fields of her youth? And what secrets echo through the hallways of this peaceful retreat? Today, we open the gates to Wynonna Judd's Kentucky sanctuary, where faith, music, and the spirit of the South live on. Before the lights, before the Grammys, before the heartbreak and the healing, there was Ashland, a small town tucked away in the northeastern corner of Kentucky, bordered by river and ridge, where a girl named Christina Claire Simonella was born on May 30th, 1964. She would later take on the world as Wynonna Judd, but back then, she was just a child raised by a single mother, Diana, who had been abandoned by Wynonna's biological father before she was even born. It was a shaky start, built on survival, resilience, and a mother's fierce determination. Diana married Michael Simonella and gave birth to a second daughter, Ashley. The family moved west to Los Angeles in search of better chances, but the dream cracked early. The marriage fell apart in 1972, and just 4 years later, Diana packed up her girls and headed back east, not to fame or fortune, but to the slow, struggling rhythms of Kentucky life. So what happens when pain meets passion on a front porch in the South? That's where the story really begins. It was in those modest Kentucky days that young Christina, soon to become Wynonna, found music. She listened to country legends on the radio, watched her mother sing, and picked up a guitar. Something clicked. By 1979, Diana had changed her name to Naomi. Christina became Wynonna, inspired by the Route 66 lyric, "Flagstaff, Arizona, don't forget Wynonna." The road was calling, and they answered. Together they moved to Nashville, a city built on honky-tonk dreams and heartbreak songs. They arrived with little more than faith, talent, and a hunger to be heard. What came next was magic. In 1983, the Judds were born, a mother-daughter duo unlike any the country world had seen. Within a decade, they released 23 top 40 singles, 14 of them reaching #1. Albums flew off shelves, stages sold out, awards piled in, 5 Grammys, 9 Country Music Association awards, 8 Billboard trophies. But behind the glitter was something deeper, an authenticity. Wynonna's voice was big, bold, aching. Naomi's harmony gave it shape, and together they told the story of every woman who'd ever been left, loved, or lost. Then came the silence. In 1991, Naomi was diagnosed with chronic hepatitis C. Doctors said she had just a few years left. The Judds announced a farewell tour. They sang together one last time, tears flowing, hearts breaking. And then, it was over. Or so it seemed. Wynonna was now alone on that great country stage. But she didn't shrink. She soared. Her solo debut came in 1992 with "She Is His Only Need." It hit #1, and so did the 3 singles that followed. "I Saw the Light," "No One Else on Earth," "My Strongest Weakness." The world wasn't just listening. They were feeling her. Her second album, Tell Me Why, went platinum. 5 top 10 hits poured out of it, from Only Love to Girls with Guitars. Wynonna had found her footing as a solo act, and in 1993 she was named ACM's Female Artist of the Year. Her mother, proud and smiling, accepted the award on her behalf. But it wasn't just about stardom. It was survival through song. Each track carried the weight of history, heartbreak, and hard-earned wisdom. And through the decades that followed, through marriages, motherhood, comebacks, and loss, Wynonna never stopped singing. never stopped fighting. In 2016, she released Wynonna and the Big Noise, a raw, honest project reflecting her personal battles and her spiritual growth. In 2023, the documentary Wynonna Judd, Between Heaven and Hell, traced her painful yet inspiring decision to continue touring after her mother's death. Because for Wynonna, music isn't just a career. It's a lifeline, a memory, a prayer. And maybe that's why, after all the arenas and the award shows, she chose to come back to Kentucky, to the same fields where she once listened to her mother hum in the kitchen, to the trees that whispered stories long before fame came knocking. So what does it mean to return home? Not as the girl who left, but as the woman who survived. Maybe the answer is waiting just beyond the next wooden gate, where her $3 million farmhouse stands quietly under the southern sky. Ready to step inside? Let's begin the tour, not just of the house, but of the heart behind it. Farm in Kentucky. There's something sacred about silence in the countryside. Not the kind of silence that echoes with emptiness, but the kind that's full of life, memory, breath, and healing. That's the kind of silence you hear on Wynonna Judd's farm, nestled deep in the heart of Kentucky. It isn't just land, it's legacy. It's where music rests between the verses, and where the soul gets to breathe. So what kind of place does a country queen call home after decades of roaring crowds and burning spotlights? Let's step inside and find out. The farm, valued at an estimated $3 million, lies along Long Branch Road near Sturgis, Kentucky, far from the glare of Nashville, yet close enough to the roots that made her. It stretches across open acreage with wooded corners, whispering trees, and fields that glow gold at dusk. This isn't a weekend retreat. It's a life lived in full. The gravel path curves through the gates, past acres of open fields once used for bird hunting, now reborn as peaceful land for wildlife and renewal. At the heart of it stands the main lodge, a warm, rustic sanctuary where wood, stone, and spirit blend into something undeniably personal. Step through the front door, and you're welcomed into a living room made for long conversations and even longer memories. A large stone fireplace anchors the space, its hearth blackened from real use, not just decoration. Dark leather sofas sit close, worn in all the right places, their cushions shaped by music legends and quiet tears alike. This isn't a showroom, it's a living soul. To the right, the kitchen opens up, as if designed not just to cook, but to gather. Wooden cabinetry hugs the walls, natural and honest, with modern appliances integrated seamlessly, a bridge between the old and the new. The kitchen island doubles as a bar, perfect for laughter, wine, or midnight songwriting sessions. And there's something comforting about the soft clinking of dishes here, as if the house itself exhales peace after years of noise. The dining space is unpretentious, yet elegant, with large windows framing views of the surrounding fields. Morning coffee here tastes like childhood, and dinners echo with stories of tours, loss, love, and redemption. Upstairs and down the halls are 4 full bedrooms, each with its own private bath. Each space is personal, decorated in warm earth tones, quilts, photographs, and faith-inspired details that feel lived in rather than curated. Nothing is ostentatious. Everything is intentional. But this isn't just a home for Wynonna. It's a home for those she loves. A second cabin, not far from the main house, mirrors the design. 4 more bedrooms, each with ensuite bathrooms. Whether it's for visiting family, close friends, or even a weekend retreat for collaborators and fellow artists, the space provides both comfort and quiet. And yes, it's also been used for short-term rentals and intimate events, giving the farm another layer of purpose beyond solitude. And outside? Step off the back porch and your boots land in heavenly silence. The fields roll wide, divided by stretches of old timber, offering privacy and potential. Once for hunting, now for reflection. There are shelters for young birds, and plots once sown with crops, now left to grow wild in soft rebellion. This isn't just a Kentucky farm, it's a breathing journal. A place where every fence post holds a story, where every path leads not just to the barn but back to the self. Wynonna has often spoken about healing, not just from public heartbreaks, but private grief. This is where that healing happens. On this land, in this home, in these moments when no one is watching. She walks the fields barefoot. She sings on the porch as dusk falls. She lays her head on a pillow that doesn't ask for applause, only sleep. Even the living room decor feels like a meditation. Gospel lyrics etched into wooden plaques, portraits of Naomi and Ashley on the walls, and vintage country instruments displayed not as trophies, but as tools, still in use, still loved. The farm isn't about wealth. It's about wealth of spirit. A sanctuary where Wynonna can finally just be. Not Wynonna the star, not the daughter, not the headline, just a woman, a wife, a daughter of the South. And isn't that what we all want in the end? Not the noise, but the meaning beneath it? In a world that once demanded she perform, deliver, shine, this is the one place where she can simply sit still and be whole. But what funded this quiet dream? What powered the journey from motel rooms and county fairs to multi-million-dollar tranquility? So how much is peace and quiet really worth? For Wynonna Judd, the answer isn't found in a number, but in everything that number represents. Still, it's hard to ignore the facts. With an estimated net worth of $12 million, Wynonna stands as one of the most enduring and financially successful women in country music history. And what's fascinating isn't just the total, it's how she built it. Because Wynonna didn't ride a single wave. She built her fortune one voice, one heartbreak, and one comeback at a time. But through it all, Wynonna never chased luxury for show. She isn't dripping in designer labels or building private islands. She's building peace. She's investing in solitude, in nature, in home. And that may be the most valuable thing of all. Because for Wynonna, wealth was never just about numbers. It was about freedom. To walk away, to come home, to heal. So what does a woman with $12 million in the bank and nothing left to prove do next? She gives back. Quietly, deeply, and with a voice that still moves mountains. Philanthropy. It started with a song. Not one for the charts or the radio, but one sung for hope, for healing, for people who had lost everything. In the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, as devastation swept across the Gulf Coast, Wynonna Judd stood at a microphone with Michael McDonald and Eric Benet, recording Heart of America. It was more than a charity single. It was a lifeline. Proceeds went to Habitat for Humanity, American Red Cross, and other frontline organizations. The campaign raised tens of millions of dollars. And once again, Wynonna's voice did what it always had. It gave people strength. But here's what makes her philanthropy so powerful. Wynonna doesn't just write checks. She shows up. From disaster zones to hospital fundraisers, from veterans events to children's health campaigns, she lends not only her name, but her presence, her heart. Take St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, for example. Wynonna has been a consistent supporter, visiting, performing, and helping raise awareness and funds for children fighting impossible battles. She's also a longtime advocate for the Children's Miracle Network and has supported youth aids, pushing awareness and resources into communities often overlooked. Why? Because she remembers what it's like to be forgotten. To be the child in the back of a beat-up car, driving across states, unsure where the next bed or meal would come from. And then there's her work with those who keep America moving, the truck drivers. In 2021, she headlined Highway to Hope, a virtual benefit concert supporting the St. Christopher Truckers Relief Fund, helping drivers and their families during medical crises. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't mainstream, but it mattered. Because to Wynonna, every life matters, especially the ones the world doesn't always notice. She's even used her music itself as a vehicle for change. In 2010, her album Love Heals was released with a portion of proceeds benefiting the Wounded Warrior Project, supporting American veterans and their caregivers. That same year, she received the USO Merit Award for her commitment to entertaining and uplifting U.S. service members. These aren't isolated events. They form a pattern, a quiet mosaic of compassion. Her giving doesn't come with press conferences or headline tours. It comes with intent. A belief passed down from her mother Naomi, who once told her, "You keep enough for yourself, then give away the overflow." That simple Southern truth still guides her. And maybe, in a world obsessed with grand gestures and viral fundraisers, Wynonna's way feels like a throwback. But it's also a return. To humility, to purpose, to soul. Because giving, for Wynonna, isn't just charity. It's music. It's ministry. It's medicine. But what does a woman who's given so much to the world hold on to in her own quiet hours? What keeps her grounded when the lights go out and the fields fall silent? Personal life. Behind the music, behind the mansion, behind the millions, there is a woman who has weathered more storms than most will ever know. Wynonna Judd's personal life has never been a perfect country song. It's been messier, more human, and infinitely more powerful. Her first great love came in the 1990s. Arch Kelly III, a man who would become the father of her son Elijah Judd, born in December 1994. But even before they were married, their relationship faced the weight of public scrutiny. In an industry where image was everything, having a child out of wedlock brought criticism Wynonna never asked for. And yet, she stood tall. Because motherhood to her was not a scandal. It was a sacred calling. She married Kelly in 1996, but the union would dissolve just 2 years later. Life moved on, but the wounds lingered. And then, in 2003, came a second chance. She married D.R. Roach, her bodyguard. But trust can be a fragile thing. In 2007, Roach was arrested for inappropriate conduct involving a minor. Just 5 days later, Wynonna filed for divorce. The headlines were cruel. But Wynonna chose healing over humiliation, silence over spectacle, and moved forward. Then came Grace, quite literally. Her daughter, Grace Pauline Kelly, was born. And for a time, Wynonna believed the chapters of pain were closing. But life had other plans. Grace would battle addiction, legal troubles, and eventually serve an 8-year prison sentence after violating probation for drug-related charges. There are no perfect words to describe what it's like to watch your child struggle. No award prepares you for that. But Wynonna never walked away. She prayed, she showed up, she stayed. And then there's Cactus Moser, a drummer, a friend, a kindred soul who had been by her side in music long before romance ever sparked. In June 2012, at her home in Leipers Fork, Tennessee, Wynonna married him, barefoot, surrounded by trees, family, and forgiveness. Just 2 months later, tragedy struck. Cactus suffered a near-fatal motorcycle crash while touring in South Dakota. His left leg had to be amputated. Some would crumble under that kind of blow, but not them. Wynonna became his caretaker, his cheerleader, his partner in every sense of the word. And together, they learned to dance again, even if one of them did it on a prosthetic leg. Because love isn't about perfection, it's about staying. Still, the most crushing loss was yet to come. In April 2022, just 1 day before the Judds were set to be inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, Wynonna's mother, Naomi, took her own life. A gun. A moment. A goodbye that came too soon. Naomi's suicide came just 19 days after their final performance together on the CMT stage. And suddenly, Wynonna was no longer just the surviving member of a legendary duo. She was a daughter mourning a mother, a partner mourning the one who'd given her music, identity, and pain in equal measure. But she didn't cancel the tour. She kept the dates, kept the promise, and stepped on stage every night, singing not just for fans, but for the mother who brought her into the world, and the world who never quite understood them. That tour became the heart of the documentary Wynonna Judd, Between Heaven and Hell. It wasn't just a tribute, it was therapy. A raw look at grief, resilience, and the way music becomes a bridge when words fail. Now, in the stillness of her Kentucky farmhouse, Wynonna lives with both grief and grace. She spends her days riding horses, tending the land, cooking meals in her warm kitchen, and praying in silence. She still sings, still writes, and most of all, she still believes. In second chances, in the healing power of faith, and in the quiet beauty of a life that refuses to quit, even when the world has turned upside down. So when you picture Wynonna Judd now, don't imagine flashing cameras or red carpets. Picture a woman barefoot in a field, head tilted toward the sky, whispering a prayer that only the wind can hear. If this journey through Wynonna Judd's Kentucky sanctuary touched your heart, through the music, the pain, the peace, and the powerful spirit of the South, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because behind every country song is a real story, and behind every farmhouse, a soul who fought to come home. Your next story begins with one click.